Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. For those of you who are not used to sit for a long time, feel free to move. There is a couch in here, or just lay on the floor if you have space, or please feel comfortable, stay comfortable. Because if your body is hurting too much, it may be difficult. You can make that a meditation, but normally it's challenging if you're not meditating regularly already. So something that I think is rarely mentioned is that there is an intention to meditation. So I say this because if you do it like a routine, you just sit and you just mechanically do it, probably won't cut that much, or it will take a long time to break all the dynamics. On the contrary, huge progress can be made if you collect your intention, if you're ready to face and to explore yourself in a deeper way. So there is this a bit of an urgency and readiness attitude that can really help a lot. Otherwise, the mind will tend to scatter and become distracted all the time. And it's good to tell your mind, now I'm going to meditate. Please don't come with with all this chatting about something else. It's involuntary, it's mechanical, it is unconscious, it is a mechanical habit that is the opposite of freedom, probably. So to become a bit serious, a relaxed way, but serious in the sense of, let's make this count. You're gonna turn your attention inwards, and you're gonna have this distortion trying to distract you all the time. So that distortion, that distraction is some way part of you. So even it may seem challenging for many people, many times, but you actually can call your intention for throwing yourself all in and make it count as if it was the last time you meditate, as is now or never kind of situation. And don't let your mind distract you. It's as simple as that. But let's do something. Let's not be so aggressive with the mind. And we're gonna play with it a little bit before letting it go. So just get comfortable. For many people, it's very useful to breathe a little deeper, not forcefully, on the contrary, trying to sort of unblock tension in your breathing. Normally, the streams of the breath are some way constrained emotionally by stress, by worry, by sadness, by many subtle emotions. So just some simple, deep breath, relaxing attitude could help you collect your energy. as if you were gently stretching your breath. Release all the stress, the fears, your past, your future, your definitions of everything. Just land in this moment as it is. Shut down your mind and feel the aliveness of being here and now. Just relax on that. If you find yourself distracted or very active mentally, use the breath to let go, to calm down, to bring your attention to this moment. Feel your breath and let it slide you step by step into deeper calm. Gently, breath after breath, going into a deeper calm, the most passive state, and yet your attention gets enhanced. And now you can release any intention, and just for a few seconds, just stay as if you were just waiting. You're still aware of your breath. And most likely, you're going to notice some movement in your mental activity from time to time. So you have this voice in your head that's coming from time to time to make a commentary. Let's befriend it, play a game with it. Now, if you're gonna have an inner conversation, it has to be about something that is happening in this moment. It can be a sensation, sound, or even a thought. But your inner dialogue is pointing to this moment. So you may be talking to yourself, like, notice a sensation on my knee. There is people screaming in the street. Feel my breath in my belly. Let your attention go wherever it wants and make your inner dialogue cooperate with that experience instead of distracting from it. You may notice that your face relaxes. So you say to yourself, my face relaxes. If there are gaps, by any means, enjoy them. You don't need to overstimulate your mind with this. But if your mind has to talk, let it be about what's happening. Let it be about where your attention is directly in this moment. If a thought comes about something, you can say to yourself, I'm thinking. Just note everything as it happens. Keep a slow pace with some gentle, effortless gaps in between. Every few seconds, maybe a label, short, simple description of what you're experiencing. Breathing has to be relaxed and easy, involuntary, effortless. Just notice how your attention jumps from one thing to another. Start just experiencing how redundant it is to talk to yourself, how inefficient. And little by little, you can drop the labeling and just keep going on observing things directly with a strong continuity, following your attention wherever it wants to go. And if there has to be any inner voice talking, let it be only about what's happening. So you collect your attention in this moment. Sustain a continuous observation, moment by moment, of what's happening, to every little detail of any sensation, any sound, any mental activity. Nakedly, darkly, notice. Don't try hard. Let your attention flow naturally, randomly, wherever it wants. Just keep a constant monitoring of where your attention is. Noticing every frame of the movie. Surrender your mind and let a sense of relaxation provide your mind and your senses. noticing every detail of the experience, moment by moment. As you retract your attention from your mind de-energizes, and let your attention naturally flow in this moment. Let your mind rest and perceive every sensation without interpretation. Surrender your mind and let your attention shine and freely move around the scenery of this moment. Notice how your mind tries to react and interpret. That's okay. It's a habit. But for this moment, completely surrender your interpretation of this moment and notice how things come in and out your experience without meaning. Symphony of perceptions flowing in and out. Don't try hard. Trying to concentrate hard is part of the mind. So let go. You don't need to make an effort to notice things happening. You only need to let go of mental activity as a daydreaming, as a trap for attention. And let your attention naturally abide in this moment without interference. Deepening in relaxation, your mind resting like a still lake. The vibrancy of aliveness, of attention start becoming more apparent. Brighter light of presence. Let your body and your mind fall asleep. Let them go. Don't do anything. And remain as presence, observing what's happening without processing. The relaxation deepens and the alertness heightens. The vividness of the moment becomes more apparent without reacting to any impression of the senses or even your mind. Just resting in presence. Resting so deep in yourself that sensations and thoughts seem to be in the surface of you. The deeper you let go, the more you wake up to this moment, to everything that is. deep can you go? Surrendering to this moment as it is, without judging, without thinking, without controlling. Letting sensations and thoughts flow freely without touching you. Your body and your mind as if they were sleeping. Sensory information and random thoughts minimize, feeling like distant, the surface. And your attention rests on itself, going deeper to a utero of awareness that goes beyond everything you could think or perceive. Sense of yourself start blurring. Sense of space. Limitless space beyond sensory. Just resting in light. Resting in the light of your awareness beyond anything you can notice. The light of their projector that allows everything to be perceived. It's nowhere and it's everywhere at the same time. Your mind can understand it. You can just rest in it. You keep going deeper and deeper into surrendering to the extent that you aren't even trying to meditate anymore. You are just being without doing. your body, your mind in a state aching to sleep. A deep, relaxed, effortless breath sinking you into more and more relaxation. Less and less effort to the point that you don't do anything. Just rest in awareness itself. Less and less activity, more and more wakefulness and vividness and relaxation. There is not even the intention to meditate or do anything. You're just resting. Resting in being. Soft touch of profound surrender. You're not even interested in sensory experiences or thoughts. You're just resting. something in you would like to become active just out of familiarity and habit, but also because noticing the subtle, deep presence is healing profound emotional scars and traumas. It's okay. That's where the determination is important. Determination to surrender to yourself, to everything. And just resting in clarity. Resting in aliveness without doing. Just being alive. Just being alive. You're so deep in the ocean of your own awareness that nothing seems to move. There's a stillness that pervades everything. Relax into it. You're about to finish this exercise, this break of activity. Just for the last couple of minutes, research how deep can you go in surrendering. Surrendering your body, surrendering your mind, surrendering yourself to the point that there is nothing, and yet it feels more alive than ever. Can you let go more? Can you completely surrender no matter what? Now sustaining this space of stillness, this deep, profound rest at the core of your being. Let your body and your mind become active without losing awareness of awareness itself. You can start breathing a little deeper. Moving your fingers a little bit or your toes, but without losing the quality of presence. And at some point, when you're comfortable, take your time. You can start opening your mind. Start letting everything become active and yet remain passive and empty at the core. This vacuity, this vividness, this deep sense of awareness, so subtle. That's where all creativity comes to your life. That's where all joy comes to your life. That's where all beauty appears in your world. That's how love fills your heart. We just we're so distracted with the world that we lose connection with that deep sense of peace that is there always, no matter what. Our attention gets locked and tangled in our thoughts to the point that we believe our own imaginations. And it's always there at the core of your being alive in any moment, no matter what is in the surface of your life, pleasant or unpleasant. You're always safe. You're always beyond it. Just that we tense and lock our attention to the point that we believe every thought that crosses our mind, we project interpretation, and we believe other people, the world is doing you, separating you. But when you just open to the presence of this moment, the opposite seems to be true. Every sensory impression is embraced with care to the point that it's difficult to understand what is in and what is out, what is this and what is that. Like watching a sunset in a dream. You're dreaming, the sun seems to be far in the distance, in the horizon. But is it close or is it far, really? It seems to be far. But when you open yourself, your attention, far and close become the same experience. Every spiritual path or cultivation of freedom ends up in the understanding that there is no difference in perceptions. There is no a world that is different than you. As Einstein said, the difference between past, present, and future is an illusion. We're just imagining it. It's an activity in our mind. So relaxing our mind brings us to the direct understanding, this subtle noticing, this link between everything that flows in your life. To the point that a person that is said to be liberated doesn't make any distinction between himself or herself and the rest. It's just an obvious observation out of familiarity with this deep sense that goes beyond perception, where every perception, sound in the street is not different from a sensation in your body. Thought in your head is not different than someone talking to you. That sense of wholeness is peace. And so far, you can open the constraining, limiting beliefs of your mind, that sense of flow and universality of attention and awareness creates a background that is immovable, to the point that little by little you notice that there is nothing that could happen in this world that could stain that sense of deep peace. This vibrant nothing. By nothing, I mean something you cannot perceive, so your mind cannot process. So it's sort of strange. How can you know something that you cannot perceive or think about? And yet you do. It's the magic factor in life. It's the love, the beauty. The most important thing that cannot be measured, that your mind cannot pinpoint or grab or put in here or in there. It's just there. A beauty that pervades every experience. A quality of perception unrelated to the object. That's what we're looking for. What what we're looking for is what we're looking with. The light of our own attention. So meditation is the investigation, curiosity on attention itself. And at first, it eludes you because as it's not physical, you cannot tell where it is. You cannot think about it. But the good news is it can never go anywhere, ever. The sense that you're alive itself. Doesn't matter what you're living, it is there. You cannot kill your awareness. It's there all the time. Even in your deep sleep, something's aware. That's why you sometimes wake up whenever you have to wake up. And there is no logical reason on how you know that. You cannot shut down your awareness. And yet you cannot tell where it is or what it is, where it does come from. Just there like the screen of a movie. There's always a screen regardless of what's in the movie. The exercise of sitting and letting your body and your mind calm down is just making it easier to notice awareness. But as you become more and more familiar, you should start noticing that whatever your body does, however it moves, even whatever the content of your thoughts, this stillness, this depth of aliveness is always there. So, I always bring a print of a powerful insight. In this case, I brought one by Einstein, who wasn't officially a meditation master or anything. I find that it's just interesting that, of course, what we're talking in meditation goes beyond any meditation or any path or any ideology. It's interesting how many observations start overlapping each other. So I brought this quote of him that says, "Imagination is everything." Let me stay with that first. If you follow the exercise we did in the beginning, just noticing what's happening without interfering on evaluating, commenting, little by little, you notice that you're actually putting together meaning in your brain. It's like things out there start losing its reality some way. Literally in every path of meditation, spirituality that I've been enjoying. In the beginning, they always talk about cleaning up yourself or discipline yourself or heal yourself or whatever. There are rituals. Then at some point, they start sort of unveiling what you are, that you are more than a person, more than a brain and a body. And they go to a stage where they start kind of, as they do in most famous meditations share nowadays, like if you really start observing the world as it happens, no one has to tell you anything. Start becoming more and more apparent that you're just interpreting all the time, non-stop, everything. That brings a sense of unstable irreality. That's exactly how suffering happens. So if you get just to observe, at some point it seems like things are kind of unreal. Unreal in the sense of if you don't project into them, you're just observing them, start becoming like pixels of sensory impression, start losing their meaning. If you don't react to it, you don't think about it, start kind of blurring. As strange as it may sound, it's the most natural, peaceful, and beautiful experience. There's nothing weird about it. Well, maybe a little bit, but it's relaxes. You don't lose your mind. On the contrary, you seem to be clearer. And but this is something I think many of you already know. I know. If you spend time just listening, spend time just looking, you start noticing things. You start noticing that there's a sort of sense, this is kind of a movie. It becomes kind of apparent when your life is really, really, really bad. So bad. You say, this movie, this is unreal. That cannot be. There's something in you that knows. And contrary to the world of matter that says this is reality, what's in your head is your imagination, doesn't have any value. It's just delusional, random thinking, unrelated to matter, unrelated to the world. So you can keep your horrible thoughts, just act as if you wouldn't have them. But actually, just because Einstein, for some reason, is today's topic, Einstein exactly said what we call matter, as we understand it, as we react to it, is just not true. Quoting him literally, it's just energy, lower, 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 so much that you can perceive it. That your senses, which are picking frequencies, then you can see it. But physically speaking, we know this is one of the brightest minds of physics. If you go and check what he's actually saying about that, he's literally saying that, which may sound strange at first, like, oh, that sounds like interesting theory for a science fiction movie. What does has to do with my life? My bank account is empty. That's real. The question is, that is real, but what if it's only real as far as you believe so? And I'm not saying have a depth or anything like that. What I'm saying, I'm talking about the meaning of the movie. It can be just a movie. Why we have to suffer, it's a different story. So the proposition of meditation is, okay, don't believe anything, experience it directly. First challenge is that what happens when you shut down that involuntary daydreaming that is capturing all your attention to the point that you're not even looking at people. Go to a restaurant, just see people. It's just, crazy, right? The phone just is an extension of our mind, but you take the phones, we still do it anyway. We don't see people. We don't experience things. We're just projecting. So what happens if you, as simple as I'm saying, put your body and your mind to sleep? People, we all believe if you let your mind and your body sleep, you lose consciousness. Well, meditation is the proof that that is not true. That is normal. It's normal to lose your consciousness at night, but the more you relax, because in the beginning meditation seems to be an concentration exercise of sort, like you have to try to do this or that, but the more you succeed in it, you will realize this is the easiest thing in the world. It's so easy that it's difficult to talk about it. It's difficult to tell someone about it. It's just, what do? You just go there and do nothing. That's it? That seems like, no, please tell me something that I have to do, otherwise I can stop it. Okay, so pick a candle, watch the flame, I don't know, watch something. Just don't go astray so much. And little by little, it's not that you get the skill of concentrating, it's that you get the skill of surrendering involuntary activity, a compulsive feeling. So it's way closer to what you can do than most people think. Most people think, no, I cannot concentrate my mind, I cannot shut it down, because you think that is another layer you put in your mind, like, now I have a thought of, I'm going to control my mind. And yeah, that's effortful. That's what we are taught in school. That's the only way of managing attention in our culture. Just try harder, right? Just suppress everything else and go for it. But obviously meditation is just, it's a gentle, I would call very feminine. Just stay there. That would be my suggestion to anyone who is exploring meditation and haven't get that far yet. You don't know if it's people talking about feeling better, but you're not sure what they're talking about. Feels a little calmer, but nothing spiritual or no great experience or no new meaning. Then just make the test. Can you let go of involuntary activity in your mind? For that, the simplest proven way is just pick something you like as static as possible. If you pick a movie, okay, yeah. But that is very, very absorbing. I'm talking about something that's happening. Could be the sounds in this. You like to listen? Just sit on the street, listen to the rain, listen to anything. Just doesn't matter. Something that is there already. You need to make an effort. Just surrender all the superficial activity and just lay down in there. And the deeper you go in there, the more your body and your mind will relax to the point that literally the waves in your brain slow down. Especially if you really, really go for that, you could emulate sleeping in your body, which is, I would say, as a sideline, is one of the greatest perks of meditation. It's like you can get your body and your mind to perfectly rest anytime, anywhere. I would say it's one of the most beneficial things ever, considering most people are just exhausted to the extreme that their mind is and their body's like, oh, you know. So only for that, I would say just go for meditation. Just learn to shut down, like fall asleep like a baby every night, but also anytime, anywhere. Now, so if you start slowing down the activity in your brain, then the quality of your attention, the quality of being here changes, right? And this is something I know most of people in here know. Your senses, the here and now enhances, like you're more alive. You can tell you're very relaxed and everything seems to be here and now. Your mind becomes clearer. Seems to be sort of like light, invisible sense of fine. Nothing going on. Calm. Is that so? You know what I'm talking, right? Doesn't take so much to notice that when you start using your energy in your mind, you start letting it free, it just naturally flows into your body, into your senses, and things feel, wow, I'm alive. Feels good. Feels nice. But if you keep pursuing observing, that gives you another hill from where to observe this moment. You start noticing quicker things, not just that sound, but how that sound comes in and comes out. You start just becoming like very quick, very sensitive to everything. And that's not only peaceful, that's actually pretty entertaining. It's just something many people like mindfulness because of that, because it feels like, oh, I don't need to collect. I can just be all around and just this flow of sensation. Yeah, definitely do it, but it's not just that. That's the entry point. The question is, if you really start succeeding, stay in that sense of very peaceful, very little mental activity, completely bypassing whatever thought comes, just stay in here and now. Just start noticing patterns of perception, not just your thoughts and what you feel and what you sense. It comes, I'm pretty sure most of you know that when an alarm goes on, someone's phone or some noise in the street, some of you get like out of it, like you can feel the strong reaction. So the more you slow down and observe, like as you were go deeper in the ocean, suddenly you have a broader perspective of what's happening. You start just noticing things and your life becomes rich. Like this moment becomes more alive. It becomes, but the important thing is that you start noticing something that seems a bit of difficult to explain, and yet it's a sense by everyone, like this idea of when you're in a real difficult situation, you feel this is not real, this is not real, this is not happening. It just feels so strong. And that not in this urgency level, but in a, you start just noticing, wait, there's something going on. Can't tell exactly what's happening, but something's happening. Whenever I meditate, slow down, become sensitive, I chill out, feel good, feel relaxed, when they start noticing that there is kind of a synchronicity between everything, and the more you observe, you can tell any difference between your thoughts and anything else, which psychologically will bring to a collapse of, then what are you? If you cannot tell what is you and what is not you, then what's happening? Of course, I'm just describing something that's slightly pouring into people's mind like a wisdom that is there already. It goes beyond any word, any book, or anyone else. It's just come from your direct experience of, wait, I'm starting noticing a whole dimension. You will start clearly noticing that 99% of your happiness has to do with what is the content of your mind. To the point that you really start observing that, and I know many of you already do, you will start feeling that I just don't care so much about things. Why? It just depends on how you take it. People can be nice or mean, depends on how you take it. So you start feeling a sense of freedom. But it doesn't stop there. Under further investigation, it goes deeper into this sense of a fabric of experience, to notice specifically this quality of not you and that being out there. This sense of separation that this is my body, this is me, and this is something else. This is the world. You know? As it goes out, this is the world. Everything out of my skin is not me. That's the common assumption, but most puzzling thing is, it is a thought. It's a thought. So what happens when you start thinking it? A different kind of experience start happening, and yet it's the same experience. You're not experiencing the interpretation of it, but the core of the experience, the aliveness, it is there already. It was there already all the time. You say, wait, this feels very familiar, and yet it's kind of shocking to start perceiving things like there's no difference between in and out. What's going to happen with your relationships? What's going to happen, more importantly, with all these people we blame for our suffering? That bad person that did this to you. No, that cannot be. Let's pass on that. No, that cannot be. And obviously, most of us seriously struggle with that for a very long time, probably most people forever, because you cannot let go. You could meditate and sit and feel all this and read all the books in the world and talk so, but when it comes to that person that, no, I feel this because of this or because of that, okay, you're in the game. This is, you're in that level. You still have a nice life, but you're still pretty vulnerable to whatever happens, and whatever people come and show you in your life and do, it triggers you still very deep. So you keep investigating. When you start noticing, hopefully through meditation, but should be pouring into your life. The more you abide in this sense of wholeness in your experience, the more you start noticing, it never stops. It's just a formality to sit, just makes it easier to practically remember, in the sense that it's not that you remember with your mind, to recall that awareness is there all the time. You're alive all the time. You're alive when you're sad. You're alive when you're happy. You're alive when you're... We're looking for this sense of aliveness that pervades everything. And you start noticing, wait, it's just peaceful. Not only that, the suffering, it always, and please correct me if it's not the case or you observe it. Anytime you're suffering, you're not enjoying your life, you're just constrained. Your attention is locked in a loop in your mind. You're trapped some way. You cannot let go of that idea. So the more you start abiding in this sort of openness of experience, then you start noticing there's this flow, there's this common ground to everything, and it's you, and it's alive, and has been always there. As much as your mind cannot get a grab on it, still it's the most direct experience. And then your behaviors will start changing. That is very important. Those of you who have been in spiritual communities may have seen you can find the most hypocrite people in the world. because the rest are fine. Just being normal people and being bad. It's just fine. They're just sinners. So what? It's the way the world is. But spiritual people is like, no, I'm so good. Start talking in certain ways. You start behaving in certain ways. But deep in yourself, you know it's bullshit. If you notice that you're not, say, this factor of freedom, independence of things triggering you deep in yourself, you don't get that feeling. Yeah, you probably it's fine. Really, it's fine. I know you're there and you're honest and you try, but it's just a very strong pattern, mental pattern that is there, is recurrent. It's ingrained in this unconscious mind. You will be surprised all that mess, how quickly can be undone if you really come to the point. And this is something many people with serious illness get to, who are on the spiritual path. There are many cases you may have heard of, people who suddenly get like, okay, that's it, you're gonna die. So suddenly your whole exploration collapses, and they are just grateful. They're grateful. They wouldn't even change their illness. I mean, just imagine what are we talking in here? Imagine that you're not dying. How nice can your life be? How the perspective of embracing everything as a direct experience without meaning, without processing, without interpreting, without reacting it, without out of your past and your patterns, whatever you think you are, whatever your mistakes you think you have, it's all in your mind. You're free, you're pure, you're beautiful, you're sacred, you're the highest thing already. That is more of a truth than anything else you can tell yourself you are. So could you convey the courage to let all go? To sit in meditation and let go all ideas? Because it's just that. It's just that. It's not a training of meditation over time. It's just, are you ready? You have the courage to be just here and now without filtering your life through your past. So the more you do that, the disciplines that practice that is called Vipassana. Not the mainstream Vipassana is out there that people go, that is a very specific. I'm talking a more broader way. There's a way deeper concept of Vipassana than that, which implies an investigation of reality. That investigation, which, by the words of the Buddha, that's what actually causes liberation from suffering. So you could sit and meditate and hold your mind for 9 hours and feel bliss. Still, you wake up and you can suffer. Still be triggered and be pretty mediocre human being, as we know by all these gurus and leaders who abuse their followers, who give bad name to spirituality. If you could just trust that, you could just trust if you let go of all the meaning, you will start noticing things. So that noticing is more like, if you go into the science of perception, you will notice that you think you're seeing things out of you. That's not the case. Your eyes are not seeing things outside of yourself. They are not seeing people. It's all a brain construct. Your eyes are just seeing some sort of like a blurry field of spots, and it's blurry, it's neutral, it doesn't make any sense. It's your brain who actually joins the dots and make it, oh, that's a person. So that becomes more and more noticeable the more you let go of your mind. At that point, you should start noticing that your life brought a quality, and you start trying to share that to everything and everyone, and you will definitely fall out of that understanding continuously. But just keep deepening into it. It becomes more and more clear, and that's where the insight of today it is not a theory, it's a direct experience by everyone. And as awkward as it may seem, spirituality, as I was saying, the beginning of the path is all about cleaning, it's all about discipline, and then you go into some sort of level where you start realizing that it is already. Then you start noticing these insights, and then life is like a dream, they say. And that's a stage. Until if you go really, really scratch deep into any path of meditation or religion, you're gonna see something even more radical. Life is a dream. And yet you could say, how you know? Well, you only know when you really pay attention to it. I would say that it helps a lot to, at some point, you become aware of your dreams. So you will start making more clear parallels between what happens in a dream. The reality of perception in a dream can be fascinating, real. And the same thing is going to happen. Start making this is pretty obvious. I'm here, I'm sitting and talking to people, and yet I'm not talking. It's just a dream. It's not to mean that it's not real. I want to go deeper on this. I'm just saying it's not just it's not denying reality, but it is making the point that there's a projection game going on that is tricking you into belief that you're suffering, that you're separated. I wasn't trying to theorize or say something that seems pretty brave, outrageous, radical, strange philosophies, maybe someone would say. But the whole point of this is freedom, and is realization, and it is the best news you could ever get. You're already where you want to be. And I wish every human being that recognition. I wish every one of you to realize that you're already perfect. Your life is perfect, even you may not understand why things happen. But it doesn't matter. And I wish that your mind is peaceful and there's this sense of rightness on everything, no matter what happens. And you feel a causeless joy pouring into your life. Okay. Thank you so much for staying here, for putting your attention, for non-separating our minds for some moments at least. And I wish peace stays with you.